didn't actually think we were gonna kill her. But when she started freaking out, saying she's gonna go to the cops and everything else, that's when he shot her, I was just like, well, problem solved.
Wow, that sounds really
I know,
heartless.
but at the time, that's what I was thinking, problem solved.
It was a murder made for modern times, dubbed the catfishing murder.
A teenager in Anchorage, Alaska, has been charged with killing her best friend.
It all began with a bizarre online catfishing scheme.
Darren Schillmiller posed as a millionaire online, offering $9 million to, quote, rape and murder someone in Alaska.
So he was a good catfisher.
He was a good catfisher. I mean, there's one thing I'll give him props for. I mean, he got me, so he's a good catfisher.
A brutal crime concocted on the internet that landed one teenage girl in prison for life and another in an early grave.
It's just like the wolf leading the lambs to slaughter. That kid took that gun and shot my niece in the back of the head. And then my niece was still breathing, kicked her into the river.
You chose the victim.
Yeah, she needed payback for what she did with Zach.
Payback with her life?
No. That's on me.
In your own words, you become a mastermind of plots to murder and sexually assault. Is that fair?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. I didn't mean to do it.
Just outside Anchorage, Alaska, it's easy to find yourself awestruck by the thick forests and towering mountains that border the city's skyline. But hidden in this vast wilderness and natural beauty are the remnants of an horrific crime. A crime as unforgiving as the harsh landscape. These same trees also hide the Highland Mountain Correctional Center, and in it, the young woman who committed the crime, Denali Bremer. Morning. Bremer orchestrated the murder of her friend, Cynthia Hoffman, for the promise of money from a man she met online. 5 years later, now serving a 99-year sentence, Denali Bremer says she's ready to talk about the catfishing murder. Is this your first interview?
Yes. I want to apologize kind of like to everybody that didn't get to hear that or see that.
Get it off your chest?
Off my conscience. Even though I was heavily advised against it, not just by my lawyer, but by other people in the prison as well, I figured it was time to just say my part. You've all heard one side of the story, so it's time for mine. And I've already admitted guilt, and so I'm ready to finally fully take responsibility for what I've done, so.
Bremer says she's not the same person she was when she carried out the murder plot in 2019, and that she's finally ready to come clean. I'm here to try to learn whether either of those claims are true, and how a teenager could be drawn into a murder plot on the internet by a man she hardly knew.
I wasn't at the right headspace at the time. It took me a lot to get to the point where I'm like finally sober and clear-headed. So I'm not blaming drugs or anything, but they did have a big impact on my judgment.
It sounds like you're kind of blaming drugs and everything.
Not everything. Like, my judgment was my own, my actions were my own.
Her story begins with violence as a little girl with a different name, Denali Dakota Sky Bremer. Is that the name you were given at birth?
No. I was adopted around 7. My original name was Alexandria Baker.
And why? Why would they change your name?
Because of what it came with. The reason why I got taken out of my bio family's home was because of a gruesome murder that happened there. So they changed my name in hopes of giving me like a new start.
A new start, a new identity?
I would hope.
But Bremer's rescue into an adoptive home might have come too late to recover from the damage already done, including witnessing the murder of her infant sister by her mother's then boyfriend.
They were newborns, basically. Gabrielle wouldn't stop crying. And Corianne, her twin sister, cried too. And to shut her up, he bashed them together and threw her against the ground. Corianne barely survived. Gabrielle, unfortunately, didn't. And when they found us, we were hiding in a closet covered in blood.
You were?
Me and my sisters were.
How old were you at the time?
I was about 2.
By late teen years, Denali Bremer had grown into a serial delinquent.
I started doing like meth and coke and heroin.
Did you at the time own guns legally?
No, you can't own guns legally at 17. I carried them around because I was like doing drugs, I'm dealing them, and it's a dangerous kind of lifestyle, so you should pack just in case.
So you were dealing drugs as well?
Yes, I don't lie about that. I was not just dealing drugs, I was also kind of whoring myself out for money. So when you deal with those kind of people, you also need protection too.
So you're doing drugs, you're dealing drugs, and there's sex work?
Yeah.
For money?
I mean, like, I got no shame in admitting that. I mean, if somebody ODs on the drugs, it's not the dealer's fault. I didn't make him take them.
At 18, Bremer says she was raped and impregnated and left traumatized. But within weeks of delivering a baby girl, she was back online selling sex and tempting fate.
And that's when you meet a man online. He calls himself Tyler.
Yeah. Well, first his name was Hayden. And then when he gave me his Snapchat, it was Tyler, which kind of raised a red flag. But then again, I've seen it multiple times. Guys don't want to give you their real name.
At one point, did he start asking you to do sexual things for money?
I mean, that's kind of like how we met, was on the dating app. Hey, I'll do this for cash. If you want to know anything more, text me. So like, he knew right out the bat what I was up to, and so that's where I make my money. So he was sending me money for photos,
He was paying you
for photos and videos,
for
yeah.
photos and videos at that point.
And I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie, he was paying me a lot.
And the requests get more and more perverted.
Yeah, he was like pushing more and more money towards me.
Was that not a red flag for you, that he's starting to ask for more and more perverted things?
I've had that before. I'm not gonna lie, like a lot of guys have asked for it before.
So it's not that outside of your prior experience.
What I've been offered.
I assume that he was not using his real picture.
No, he wasn't. Or his real credit card. You can set up a PayPal nowadays with anything. So he was using a PayPal account to pay me.
And he made some outlandish claims about his wealth, right? About all of that. And did that seem plausible to you?
Well, I mean, at first, no, but then, like, when my PayPal started blowing up with bigger and bigger sums, it started to kind of, like, maybe make sense.
He's telling you he loves you.
Yeah.
In fact, you're telling each other you're in love.
Yeah, I told him that too, but, like, I don't know. Even, like, now I'm starting to question if I really believed it. Like, I just think I just kept wanting him to get me easy money.
Of course, Tyler wasn't who he appeared to be. In fact, he was 21-year-old Darren Schillmiller living in his grandparents' basement in Indiana. But it's also becoming evident to me that Denali Bremer was no naive, unwitting victim of a bad online influence. In fact, at this stage in the interview, it's not clear to me who was the predator and who was the prey, in this case of catfishing.
Yeah, stop for a second. In this particular case, this is kind of goes both ways. You know, the typical catfishing tends to be a one-way deal. This is different in that they're playing each other, you know, and you don't see that in most situations. And so it makes it interesting from that standpoint, like you're playing me, I'm playing you, let's see where this goes.
Interesting.
Former FBI agent Brad Garrett spent decades hunting down and interrogating some of America's most wanted. In this case, he sees two criminal minds simultaneously at work.
I think he was playing somebody that looked a lot better than he did. He's great, he's attractive, he's rich. She sees a ticket here a ticket of money, but in addition to that, I'm also getting attention, and this guy's good looking. So it's more like what I'm getting out of this, which tends to fit more of a personality of somebody that grew up desperate, that internalized their feelings, and now it's all about control of getting what I want, no matter what the outcome might be. She's now using him, despite the fact she's getting attention and maybe attracted to him and all that stuff, but she's working him.
And he, in turn, was working her, offering her more and more money to photograph sex acts with adults and sex crimes with children. And soon, a murder.
How much money are we talking about?
$9
$9
million.
$9 million.
Apparently.
Did it not occur to you that he was playing you?
Well, I mean, it was really hard because I did look up all the photos online. None of them came back as anything. I looked up the number. It was registered to the name he had given to me. Looked up the PayPal. It was registered to the name he was given to me.
So he was a good catfisher.
He was a good catfisher. I mean, this is one thing I'll give him props for. I mean, he's got me, so he's a good catfisher.
Both predators had met their match and were about to conspire on a barbaric crime.
Denali, how did murder first come up?
We've had some tragedies up here, but I wouldn't live anywhere else. I'm Uncle Don. Tim, who is the father of Cynthia, is my brother. She was a very smart, bright, vibrant young lady. She loved life. She loved music. She liked shopping, just regular kid stuff. She had just graduated from high school. She worked for a local restaurant, and she was doing very well.
Cynthia Hoffman was blissfully unaware. The 18-year-old she considered her best friend had targeted her in a murder plot. Her uncle Don Hoffman says that was characteristic of her trusting nature and naivete.
She was not judgmental of people, so she was easily brought in. She met Denali Bremer, I think, at a mall, and she did consider her best friend at one point. My niece was, I don't know how to explain it. She was just very drawn to Denali, and thought that was her friend when it wasn't her friend.
Cynthia, or Cece, was developmentally delayed, and Hoffman says she missed the red flags about Denali Bremer that were so obvious to him.
Denali was the type of person she was like a predator. She was looking for her next victim. I had met her a couple times at Tim's house, and there was something about her that wasn't right. They were all sitting in the front room, and I'd met her, and then when I met her, I just kind of turned around and I just shook my head like, I can't believe that you're letting CC run around with these people. You just know them type of people. You knew that they were into drugs, into different things. And I told Tim that. And he goes, I know. He goes, but Cynthia is an adult. She has the right to choose whoever she hangs out with.
Give me my gun back. It's mine.
But Denali Bremer and her friends were very bad company.
You judging them? Pigs. You're a pig.
16-year-old Caden McIntosh would become her triggerman in the murder case.
Soft safety.
Caleb Leland was also in the mix, knowingly providing the vehicle used in the crime. And all the while, text messages show Darren Schillmiller, still posing online as Tyler, was tasking Bremer, who's using the alias Angel, with vicious sex crimes involving minors in exchange for money.
Soon he's dictating to you how he wants you to molest children.
Yeah,
hold her
tried.
down, fight her, impress me.
Yeah, he tried that. When I read those messages, I was mad at my friends.
But you seem to be going along with it.
Yeah, but again, I wasn't the one texting him during that time. My co-defendants, they were the ones texting him when he was asking for a lot of that stuff. They were like, well, we pretended to be you, and he gave us more money for, some of your old videos and stuff. And I was like, what?
But you don't deny that you're
I don't deny I finally read it.
That you're in a dialogue with him where he's asking for you to do things, criminal things, and you are participating in it, planning it, responding to him.
Yeah, that was right up until he like basically the murder. But like for about a day or two, I wasn't texting him.
Cynthia Hoffman was no match for the conniving of Bremer and her co-conspirators, especially after Bremer says they had a falling out over their ex-boyfriends.
Denali, how did murder first come up?
So, I was shooting up in the backseat of my car. I was shooting up some meth mixed with a little coke, and it only happened like a few days prior to the murder. So me and Cece had a huge fight, and she blasted all over her social media. We got this huge argument over a guy, because I slept with her ex. She slept with mine.
Okay.
Not proud of it.
Tit for tat, okay.
And well, Tyler, Darren, found out and, kind of played on my emotions, and my jealousy hit me again. And I'm not gonna lie, I got petty, and I was mad.
So who first brought up the prospect of murder? Was it you or was it him?
Darren. Darren's the one that first came up with it.
Eventually, he offers you $9 million to commit and photograph a murder.
He had already offered that, and I was like, okay, this is... But my friend was like, no, it's real. Look, it says in transaction. I'm like, what? And I looked, and I was like, oh. So I didn't know what to think.
Did you really think it was possible to send $9 million on PayPal?
Well, I mean, not on PayPal, but if you know how to do wire transfers, then yeah, I could work on a wire transfer.
You chose the victim?
Yeah, it was a group thing too, but initially, when we all came up with it, I agreed and said yeah. Because I was mad at her, and she was mad at me, and I was just over her. And I wanted to make amends. I did want to make amends, but she needed payback for what she did with Zach.
Payback with her life?
No. That's on me.
You chose the place?
Yeah.
Why there?
I guess place of opportunity.
Thunderbird Falls is a 200-foot waterfall that cuts through a rich birch forest just outside Anchorage. Bremer and McIntosh would lead Cynthia to an isolated spot in the woods overlooking the creek.
There had been a lot of premeditation and planning, right?
Yeah, there had been, and I was the only one with a gun, so I brought my Kel-Tec 9mm with me.
Tell me, what was the plan?
It was just originally just to kill her. I don't know, they didn't plan anything out, how they were gonna do it or whatever. So it was.
What do you mean they? Because you're at the center of it.
Not really at the center, but yeah, we all, I guess, were trying to figure it out. But I thought they were kidding.
Were you kidding?
No.
You were serious?
No.
You were kidding or you were serious? Which one is it?
Somewhere in between. I wanted to pay for what she did, but I didn't want to kill her. I just wanted to, I guess, leave a lasting impression on her.
Okay, but by then, you had agreed to kill her.
Kill her, yeah, because I thought...
For money.
Yeah.
Right? To take her to Thunderbird Falls, to bound her with duct
Actually,
tape?
that just... Caden came up with that suggestion while we were there. He had brought duct tape.
Okay.
I didn't even know he had it on him.
Okay, but
He
you
had
were...
big pockets.
You maybe you weren't responsible for the duct tape, but you were part and parcel of this whole conspiracy, right?
Yeah.
You're not denying that, right?
No, I knew about it, the day of, and what we were doing.
You say you knew about it, but you not just knew about it.
Yeah,
you created the plan.
Well, I didn't create any plan. There was no plan.
Okay, June 2nd, 2019. In as much detail as you can recall, tell me what happened that night. You told Cynthia you were going to go on a hike, right?
Well, I said in the message we were going to go on a hike, but when the code is we're going to go get high and smoke some pot or
but in fact,
shoot up. And we
in
did.
fact, you had a plan, a plot to murder her that day, right?
I didn't even know how we were going to do it.
You walk into I've seen the place, it's a beautiful place. You walk into the trail. You're carrying the gun?
Yeah, it was on my hip holster. It was, I'm not denying it was mine. It's just I'm not the one that pulled it. I'm not the one that shot her. I'm not the one that actually went through with everything. I'm just the one that had the means to do it.
Bremer and McIntosh walked Cynthia down to the creek and bound and gagged her with duct tape. They are the only two people alive who know exactly what happened next.
And then she started freaking out, and that's when she said she's gonna go to the cops. She's gonna do this, she's gonna report us, she's gonna like get him in trouble, get us in trouble. And that's when we both panicked. And I was like, I can't get arrested. I got a bunch of dope in my car. So like, I didn't want to go to jail for drug charges or kidnapping and assault because she was like, she had the rip marks from the tape. So she was gonna get us for assault and kidnapping. And I was like, okay, well. And that's when he grabbed some gun out my holster and then he just walked right up to her and shot her back in the head. I've never seen a man go so calm. Just walk up behind somebody and shoot them in the back of the head.
Bang. Right? One shot?
One shot. That was it.
Back of the head? Execution style. You watched her struggle, right?
Yeah, we did. I did. He did, we did.
Lots of chances to change her mind. She reached for her phone to call help.
No, she never had her phone. Kaden took it.
You reached for the 9mm.
I did at first, but then I stopped myself. And I was like, this is stupid. But I didn't actually do anything when because she hasn't been threatening us yet. She just went over by the river and then she started threatening us and yelling and screaming at the top of her lungs.
And you thought that the way to control the damage was to go through with the plan and murder her?
Well, I just went along with it because problem solved, right? And
wow, that sounds really
I know,
heartless.
it sounds heartless, but not now. Like now I'm just like, that was super up and shouldn't have done it. But at the time, that's what I was thinking. Problem solved.
Did you watch him point it at her head?
Yeah.
What were you doing when he aimed the gun at the back of her head?
Staring.
Staring.
Didn't say anything. I guess I watched.
You didn't try and stop him?
Well, no. There wasn't time to. I didn't scream, though.
Did you watch him push her into the river? Did you see her twitching after the gunshot?
I didn't want to look, but she wasn't moving at all.
Did it occur to you at that point that you had just gone from troubled teen to teenage murderer?
When we were in the car coming back, yeah. Not at that exact moment in time, no. In that exact moment in time, my only thought was, get out of here.
Get out of here.
Leave.
Was there indication that Miss Bremer had talked about killing Cece?
Yes.
In fact, during the messages, didn't she actually at some point say, I literally killed for you?
Yes, she did.
I'm not an accomplice to murder. I'm a victim, too.
Denali Bremer makes her getaway and takes to social media to craft her defense.
I didn't do. He took my gun from me. He already threatened me a lot, and I don't want to die before I can testify against the mother who killed my friend.
At age 18, Denali Bremer conspired to walk her friend deep into the woods and murder her in exchange for $9 million, offered by a man she only knew online as Tyler. For the first time, she's speaking publicly about the crime and the cover-up.
When I turned back around, she was in the river and his hands were covered in bright red blood. And then he grabs my hand and we take off and we go to this path. We go around and make our way back to the car.
You're just making your getaway.
In a way, yeah. We're leaving. And I'm still surprised nobody heard the gunshot.
You're fleeing the scene of the crime.
Yeah, we're fleeing the scene of the crime. And so I get to the car and I get into the driver's side.
Are you crying? Are you screaming? Are you...
I wasn't doing anything at that point. I didn't know really what to do. And I get these Clorox wipes out and he wipes his hands off and stuff. And I wipe mine because he'd gotten it on me.
Blood on your hands.
Yeah. He ditches her cell phone there. He burns it, actually. And he was about to burn mine, but I'm like, don't ruin my phone. He was like, okay.
That's what you were thinking?
Well, because, like, I didn't know what else to say. Like, because he was going to burn my phone right then in the parking lot. And
right, but how do you even have the presence of mind to worry about your phone when you just killed and dumped your friend in the river?
Well, I didn't really have a presence of mind. I'm just thinking moment to moment, like, I need to drive here. I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to not focus on what just happened.
And then you went home and you told your biological mother what you did.
I told him we needed an alibi. Look, so for all of you who are asking what really happened, I did not shoot her.
In the days that followed, Bremer posted a series of deranged messages denying her guilt in the crime.
I didn't do. Honestly, I was held at gunpoint and told to do whatever he says and I'll live.
and even claiming to be a victim of it.
So, I just heard that evidently Caden Brian McIntosh, the guy that shot my best friend in front of me and all y'all haters saying that I was involved in it, just got out on bail. I'm actually kind of scared. Because
I have guns.
I know you have guns, Mom, but still. And I don't want to die before I can testify against the mother who killed my friend. All y'all saying that I'm fake and that I had something to do with it and that I used her and that he was my boyfriend, that I'm dating somebody else.
At some point, did Miss Bremer come over to your house with another individual and disclose some information to you?
Yes, she did. I was told that they had gone out to Thunderbird Falls with the friend of theirs, a young lady by the name of Cece, and that Caden had shot Cece in the head and pushed her body into the Klutner River.
Instead of giving her daughter an alibi, Bremer's mother called police.
So you eventually called police.
I called them the following day.
And what was the reason that you kind of waited until the next day to call them?
I honestly thought they were screwing with me. I thought it was all either a joke or some kind of test to see how loyal I was to her as my daughter. The following day, I saw the news report, and I knew that I couldn't, in good conscience, not come forward with the information that I had.
Bremer was quickly arrested. Then a police investigation revealed that Bremer was the plot's mastermind and ordered Caden McIntosh to pull the trigger. Now, 5 years later, the young woman who told me she's ready to take responsibility is changing her story again and pointing the blame elsewhere.
You told the police that it was your gun.
It was my gun.
Right?
I don't deny
and you
it was
ordered,
my gun. I didn't order him.
You ordered the execution of
No.
Cynthia.
No, I did not order him to do anything. We panicked.
You didn't give him the gun and tell him to shoot her?
No.
Why'd you tell the police
I again told
that?
them that because I was trying to protect Caden at first. 'Cause
Reading the
I
record,
didn't know
it
what to
sounds like
think.
the opposite, because at first you were pointing the finger at him.
Well, he did
and-
shoot her.
And then you admitted that you ordered him to do it because you could not pull the trigger.
No, I never ordered him to do it.
It sounds like you're now, after confessing to the police that you ordered him to shoot her, that you were the mastermind. It sounds like you're now backtracking and pointing the finger at others to reduce your culpability. That's what it sounds like.
I'm not trying to fully do that. I'm just saying what really happened now. Even in the interview room, when I listen to my interview, you have this guy leading me just yes, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this. And, gave, and I was like, I guess I did. Yeah, I did.
You're claiming now that this was a false confession, a coerced confession?
Per certain details, yeah.
Well, how about that? That's not a detail. That is the definition of first-degree murder. If you premeditated, planned the event.
Well, we did premeditate
and then
plan it.
And then ordered the execution of Cynthia Hoffman.
So we did premeditate it. We did talk about it, and I guess we planned it in stupid ways, but I never ordered him to shoot her. That's the one thing that they and I myself got wrong. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. In my own head, the way I see it is I didn't actually pull the trigger. I was just the catalyst. I was the thing that.
Do you think that makes you any less a murderer?
No, it doesn't make me any less a murderer. It just is something on my conscience that I didn't actually be the one to kill somebody. So I haven't physically taken a human life. I was just the catalyst of taking one, and that is my burden to bear because she's dead because of me. That's my responsibility. That's on me.
You're saying you're taking responsibility, but you're also saying that
I'm not the one that shot her. I don't know. There's just something that always gets me when people be like, well, you shot somebody. Well, no, I didn't. Everybody always tries to come up and say that, but I didn't actually shoot her.
You did murder her, though.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
I don't know. I guess there's just a big difference with the physical part of actually doing it to somebody than being the one to make it happen. I don't know. There's just, for me, there's a difference between actually shooting somebody and being that, willing to do it. Because, I wasn't willing to do it, but he was.
And you know that you yourself was willing to murder somebody.
Yeah.
Right? Denali, of course there's sympathy for a troubled teenage girl who suffers the kind of abuse that you did. But your crimes are so brutal, so depraved and premeditated that there's nothing that really explains, let alone excuses them. You agree with that?
Yeah.
You do? There's no excuse, there's no explanation even.
No, not really.
This is not a crime where, like a lot of serious youth crime done on impulse. Yours was premeditated and planned and conniving. And again, the sheer brutality of it looks less like a terrible mistake and more like your true character.
I can tell you right now that is not my true character.
Was it then?
Pushed to that point, it used to be. That's like definitely the worst I've ever been. My lowest point, that's my monstrous side.
Your monstrous side. You've done a fair amount of finger pointing towards other people away from yourself in our conversation. Do you realize that?
Yeah, I do.
It kind of contradicts the idea that you are fully taking responsibility. You're parsing, for example, whether or not you are the same kind of murderer that McIntosh is because he pulled the trigger and you didn't. You're pointing the fingers at others who may have, you say, texted Tyler, as you. You're denying the child porn charges. You're denying making your younger sibling a victim of that. You're doing a lot of not taking responsibility.
It's just like the media got a lot wrong. The cops got a lot wrong. My co-defendants and I did a lot wrong. We all did something really up. And I take responsibility for my part 100%. It's just I'm not willing to take responsibility for theirs.
I think for Denali, this interview is all over the place. I think it is to get some things off her chest. But in her mind, she wants to convince us, like she apparently has done quite well in the judicial system, of convincing people of woe for me. And, some of that's true, obviously. She's had a troubled life. But she now is using this diminishment to sort of paint her in a better light. It's almost like I'm in the back row of that. I'm not in the front row. And maybe Caden pulled the gun from her, maybe he didn't. But the point being, if we go with her scenario, but she didn't do anything to stop it. She could have said, Caden, give me that gun, or physically try to stop him. And it's really telling that she really was okay at that moment with it happening.
Right.
Bremer may be trying to take a back seat now, but there's substantial evidence she was in the driver's seat when the plot was carried out, even providing proof of the crime to her catfishing partner.
At what point did you send pictures to Tyler of Cynthia Hoffman in the process of this plot?
There was a video that we had taken, and then I guess there was a photo of her bound.
When Denali Bremer agreed to accept the promise of millions from a man she met online to murder her teenage friend, the deal was predicated on photographic proof, and Bremer delivered.
At what point did you send pictures to Tyler of Cynthia Hoffman in the process of this plot?
There was a video that we had taken, and then I guess there was a photo of her bound.
And when did you send those?
They had already been sent, right after I took them, right after he took them, right after.
So after the murder?
No. This was right when...
Before the murder?
Yeah, this was when we were still down there.
So as you were torturing her? Right.
She was never really tortured.
Well,
she was,
by duct taping somebody against their will.
She was willing. He suggested
Until she wasn't, right?
Until she wasn't.
Ultimately, Bremer received no payment from her catfishing accomplice, Darren Schillmiller, who was also sentenced to 99 years by the state of Alaska. Schillmiller and Bremer are also serving simultaneous 30-year federal sentences for child pornography. But none of that has deterred Bremer from appealing to the state of Alaska to reduce her sentence.
Doesn't justice require that you spend the rest of your life behind bars?
People would say that yes, it demands it, and I don't see myself getting out anytime soon.
But you are working on an appeal to reduce your sentence.
I am working on the appeal, yes, to reduce the state sentence.
What does that say about you?
So,
on one hand, you say you've taken full responsibility.
I have, but, well, I mean, I'm already spending the rest of my life in here, but 99, I mean, you can give me 80, and I'll still be serving the rest of my life in prison. You know, it doesn't, I mean, the number is just kind of like what hits hard.
You think you deserve to get out of prison? Do you think you deserve another chance after what you've done?
I think everybody deserves a second chance if they're truly ready for it. And I know by that time, I'll be ready. Not now. I'm not asking to get out tomorrow. I mean, 30 years is a lot to work on myself, 40 years, 50 years. And if by that time I'm finally ready to try again, I can try again.
Your letter to the judge, sentencing, contains, it seems like, some honest truths, but also a lot of platitudes, like you're just saying what you're supposed to say, right?
No, I came up with that myself because I am committed to change. I'm committed to bettering myself. I'm trying every day to just do one good thing.
She seems to know what to say. For example, she writes the judge, it's full of platitudes that you would want to hear. Is that a thing that people who are criminally minded know often what they're supposed to say?
Well, of course, but, you know, everyone tries to paint themselves in a better light. Take it away from crime, and we all in resumes, and we will paint ourselves in the rosiest light. It's no different here. And obviously, one of the things that helps you in criminal cases is when you admit responsibility. If you say to them, I didn't do this, and I'm not taking responsibility for anything, you've now added onto your sentence, probably.
Right,
so
right.
I'm sure most lawyers will counsel their clients to go that route. Some won't. She clearly has decided that that was the route to go.
Bremer's plea for leniency contained references to her troubled childhood and the phrase, hurt people, hurt people.
There's truth to the phrase, hurt people, hurt people.
Yes.
But you must know that most hurt people don't do anything approaching the vicious crimes you committed,
No.
right? I think your sister said it best. We all had really hard lives. And I feel like she took the wrong road with the wrong people, and now she's paying the ultimate cost.
Wait, what sister?
Brenna?
Brenna said that?
Yes.
Like, I don't really know my sisters. I don't know Brenna, Rebecca,
But
or
the point
Corey
is,
Ann.
the point is that even
She just
your own
murdered.
siblings,
Yeah.
who went through a lot of the early trauma that you did,
Yeah.
right? Even their verdict on you is that you chose this. You chose bad. I don't believe you were born bad, do you?
No man is born evil.
So you chose bad.
Yeah, it's a choice.
How do you account for that, Denali?
Guilty.
It was the next day, which was June 3rd, and my brother had called me. He goes, look, Cece hasn't showed up all night. I ain't gonna be able to get a hold of her. Something's going on.
Cynthia Hoffman's Uncle Don and her father woke up to her absence the day after the murder, suspecting that something had gone terribly wrong.
And he had a thing where you check in. You had to check in. You had to check in every 2 hours, no matter what. Text, call, whatever. And if Dad calls, you better have your butt home. You're living at his house, it's his rules. He was getting texts from her, but he was calling her at the same time, and she wasn't picking up the phone. He knew it wasn't her.
The Hoffman family lost Cynthia forever. Do you remember her heartbroken father's public appearances?
I tried not to really focus on what he would say because, again, like 5 years ago, I'm not the same person I am today. So 5 years ago when he first was doing that, I was mad and I was angry and I wasn't sympathetic. But then 2 years ago, I went through a really big change, and that led to the person that's sitting across from you today. I went and did this treatment program, and when the speaker spoke, he connected to something I haven't felt in a long time, something I buried really deep, is a feeling of empathy. I know it sounds monstrous now, but 2 years ago, I finally connected with empathy on a much deeper and more intimate level than I ever have in my life. And I felt it.
Simply by him saying, how would you feel if it was you?
Yeah.
That's all it took?
When he asked that final question, everything just kind of clicked, and what if it was you? That's when it finally hit me. When he asked it, everything just fell into place for me.
You were 22 at the time, and before that, it never crossed your mind?
Well, I mean, it didn't not cross my mind, it never really
landed.
Fully clicked. Yeah, that's when I was like, I need to make this right. I need to do something to make this right.
I think Denali feels that she's got insight and maybe feels better about herself, not the crime itself. But, you know, the key with any of these situations, and I don't know if she'll experience this, will she be a different person when she gets out of prison? Because I've had so many parolees I've sent back to prison because they were model inmates who went to therapy, had a great job, security guards loved them, and then they get out and they go right back into the life that they had had 5, 10, 15 years before. It's hard to break the record of who you are.
Cynthia's mother, we're told, didn't leave the house for 1.5 years. She was so bereaved. And you know, her father was later killed in a motorcycle accident on a memorial ride in tribute to his dead daughter, who you took from him. That wouldn't have happened but for your crimes.
Yeah, and the mother's in critical condition in the hospital. And I know, like, the family, I'm the least and last person they want to hear this from, but I really hope she pulls through and that she survives and is going to be okay.
Your own family has to walk around with this forever, including your sisters, right?
My sisters, my brothers.
All of those people
My
got
parents.
life sentences. Do you not think that you got what you deserved? 99 years from the state, 30 years from the federal government?
I just want to be able to be given a second chance eventually to try to make it up to the community outside of here. And as this is like my first interview ever, I think I'm handling it. Okay, my lawyer told me not to do this, but I'm gonna try to do better.
Bremer is now serving her sentence at a facility with a reputation for soft time, nicknamed Camp Cupcake, and she says she's trying to use the time well.
Well, thank you for your time.
Will I get lunch?
She seemed pleased with her first ever interview, but she couldn't account for all the damage she has done. Damage that has only gotten worse for the Hoffman family since Denali Bremer murdered Cynthia.
And that's why she never deserves to get out. She better not get no appeal. And she better watch her back in there, because Cece had a lot of friends. One of them might end up in there. As much as you guide your children, there's a lot of unsavory people in this world. We see the end result. My niece is not here no more. She's dead. Shot in the back of the head for what? When she was led there, she went up there willingly, thinking this is all a game, we're just going on a hike. They saw that she has special needs, and they could easily manipulate her into trusting them. And they all knew they were gonna kill my niece. It's just like the wolf leading the lamb to slaughter. I think she has no conscience. I think she's evil. And she murdered my niece without a blink of an eye. And if she could have got away with it, she would have.